At this moment, you know several thousand Spanish words, even if you have never seen or heard them before. Don't believe me? Vamos. Okay, now, pronunciation is key. When learning a new language, learning how each letter is pronounced differently than English is so important. When you have a word that looks like an English word, it will entirely matter how you pronounce it. We will cover this more later, but take a moment to look through the vowel sounds in Spanish. Do not be afraid to pause the video if you need more time. Vamos a hablar sobre las categorías de cognados. Some words look like an English word, but are actually false cognates, meaning they mean something completely different. Cuidado. There is a giant list of false cognates in the resource forest on the map. If you would like to learn all about these cognados falsos, please find your way to the Lección Preliminar section of the Bosque de Recursos or resource forest. All right, la primera categoría de cognados is words that end in shon in English. Words that end in chon in English are often almost perfect cognates in Spanish, meaning they look similar, mean the same, but are spelled slightly different. Chon will change to sion. Por ejemplo, la estación, la educación, la nación. Notice that in Spanish, these words are usually feminine. La segunda categoría are words ending in os in English. Words that end in awes in English are often almost perfect cognates in Spanish, and os changes to oso. Por ejemplo, curioso, famoso, generoso. Notice that these are almost always adjetivos or describing words. La tercera categoría es un grupo de palabras que terminan en las letras AL en inglés. Words that end in all in English are often identical, perfect cognates in Spanish. Por ejemplo, el animal, el criminal. You'll notice that Spanish words that end in all often sound more stressed on the last syllable. La cuarta categoría es un grupo de palabras que terminan en las letras, T en inglés. Words that end in tie in English are often almost perfect cognates in Spanish, meaning they look similar, mean the same. They T will change to dad. These are usually feminine Spanish words like la actividad, la habilidad, la comunidad. Notice that only nouns follow this pattern. La quinta categoría es grupo de palabras que terminan con las letras ICE en inglés. Words that end in ich in English are often near perfect cognates in Spanish, meaning they look similar, mean the same, but are spelled slightly different. The ish will change to ico, por ejemplo, el Atlántico, el público, romántico. Notice that the stress on these words are on the last letter. La sexta categoría es palabras que terminan con BLA en inglés. Words that end in bill in English are often identical, perfect, or near perfect cognates in Spanish. Remember that near perfect cognates look similar and are spelled similar in both languages. La séptima categoría son palabras que terminan con las letras o R en inglés. Words that end in or in English are often identical, perfect cognates in Spanish, meaning they look the same, mean the same, and are spelled the same. Aquí son unos ejemplos. El actor, el color, el doctor. Notice that in many Spanish accents, Spanish words ending in or have a rolled sound on the end. La última categoría es un grupo de palabras que terminan con las letras ent o ant. Words that end in ent or ant in English are often near perfect cognates in Spanish. Simply add an E to many. Notice that in palabras like inteligente, the G sounds more like an H when placed in front of a vowel like the letter E. In review, a perfect cognate is a word in one language that has a direct counterpart in another language, sharing the same meaning and very similar spelling and pronunciation. A near perfect cognate is a word in one language that has a counterpart in another language with very similar spelling and meaning, but with slight differences in pronunciation or spelling. A false cognate is a word that appears to be similar in two languages, but has a different meaning in each. For example, the English word actual and the Spanish word actual are false cognates. In English, actual means real or true, while in Spanish, actual means current or present. Genial. No te olvides. Don't forget to visit the Bosque de Recursos or the Resource Forest in English to access videos and lists about cognates. Go forth, aventureros valientes. Explore and discover the incredible world of Español.